Greetings and salutations, this is Emperor Vespasian and his trusty sidekick.
Hello.
We're going to be having a little chat today about forward observers, and this one is a Chinese forward observer for my Chinese army. It's a normal German officer, which I've given a pointy arm to, because he's pointing, with the Middle War German Army hat, and a guy laid on the ground just sort of looking over there. There's a Chinese newspaper on the floor in front of him announcing that Japanese troops have started to enter the city of Nanking, so obviously you have a picture of the map outside Nanking on the floor, which they're using as a term of reference to bring down artillery on the Japanese forces. Artillery for the Chinese tended to be the 105mm German howitzer, so basically they've got the same firepower as the Germans do in bolt action. Although in the bolt action rules everything has the same, even though the French howitzers were only 75mm guns, the Germans were 105s, the British used 90mm. Is it an 88? I think it's an 88mm gun, which is less powered than the German, and yet in bolt action everything's just classed as artillery. Okay, so you use an artillery unit as a bit like firing. You spot a target and then you bring down artillery, or you can communicate with aircraft theoretically.
That's what we use it for.
Which is what we can use it for too. So yeah, that's basically what we use it for. I should suggest you get at least one per army, because you're going to need artillery. It is something you are going to need in a game. This one will put you back 115 points. All observation teams are classed as veteran anyway, which gives them a 5+ morale, which is quite good. Damage morale. They're armed with an MP-28 submachine gun and a Hanyang rifle. Over to you.
Questions?
Yeah.
This guy here, is he an officer or is he just a normal observer in the army?
Technically, legally, the rank of sergeant.
Why would a sergeant be an observer?
He wouldn't. He's only a corporal.
So what's he doing then?
Depends. If he's part of the artillery, he would, as far as the infantry are concerned, be a sergeant in the Chinese army. So he would have the rank of a sergeant even though he was a corporal, because there's a corporal of artillery assigned to the military, assigned to the infantry. If he was with the Air Force, he would be a lieutenant, which is even more high ranking, outranking the platoon leader. Gives him a little bit more clout when it comes to getting on the telephone and saying, hey, we need some artillery, or we need some air support. So this guy's in the German hat because that's the hat used by the artillery crew in China. So I've given him the German hat on his head there, out of the late war German box. I think it's the late war German box that the hat comes out of, because that's the hat used by Japanese artillery, and he's got the red piping because that was the colour of the artillery piping. So I hope that made sense. Did that make sense? I think it made sense.
Made sense to me.
Yeah.
If it made sense to me, it made sense to everybody else.
Well, that is true.
Yes, very true.
Yeah.
By the way, I am your son. You're not allowed to say that.
Oh, okay. Paternity test hasn't come through yet. We don't know anything. Right. So, yeah, artillery is pretty cool stuff to use. Do have a few issues with the way it works, but hey, that's just the rules. I think bolt action deals with artillery a lot better than many other rule systems, because you've got some rule systems where you have tables for each type of artillery, which just gets needlessly boring. All bolt action does is say it's artillery.
Yeah, it does.
It does the same to everything. It all comes in from the same tin. It's just huge amount of lead falling from the sky going bang. Deal with it. And I like that in the rules because it makes it a lot simpler to play. So yeah. I'll just scoot him round so you can see the stuff on the back. There he's got the MP-28 on his back. That's the Russian Tokarev is the closest you can get to the 28. So there it is. There was also that clip there can come out of the side, but I left it in there because it kept breaking off, so I stuck it back where it was. It's not important. I just had to mention it from a modeller's point of view. So it looks like it's the original gun, but if you look, there's a bit of gunk just there because I had to stick it on backwards. Next question.
Question is, do I have any more question?
You probably don't.
Okay, I do.
Okay, go for it.
Only one. I can't think of any more. The Observer, is it classed as a spy?
No.
Because it is kind of...
No, he's part of the army, and he will never be behind enemy lines. He will be assigned usually to a platoon, and he would just do the observing for that platoon and bring in artillery and stuff for the platoon. Or he could even be assigned at a divisional level. The Chinese had 2 armoured battalions, which were tank battalions, and they would have had numerous observers between each unit. Between each tank platoon, which would have been 12 tanks. Every 12 tanks would have had an armoured car with an observer team inside it. The infantry, you would usually have 2 observers per battalion. 1 to act as a forward air liaison and 1 to act as a forward artillery liaison. Although for the Chinese army, the air liaison used to just spot for artillery, because there was hardly any communication between air and ground for the Chinese. They didn't use coloured smoke because the Japanese did. Japanese officers carried smoke canisters and a pistol, and you would put a different coloured canister on the end of your pistol and fire it, and that would fire a smoke canister onto a target. And if it was green smoke, an aircraft flying overhead would drop bombs on it. And if it was blue or purple smoke, an artillery unit would fire on it. So an observer would look out in the Japanese army. An observer would look out for purple or blue smoke, and as soon as he sees it, he brings in an airstrike on that position. Unlike other armies, where it's the observer that brings in the artillery, all the observer does in the Chinese or the Japanese army is sit and wait for someone else to mark a target. And quite often, aircraft would just fly overhead looking for the smoke, waiting.
Like when you say cap, when it's on cap.
Cap's air defence. Cap is to stop enemy aircraft doing exactly the same. But ground attack aircraft would just circle the battlefield looking for any marker to say someone needs help, and they would go in and hit. Because there was very little communication between the air and ground, typically. Same goes with the Chinese army as the Japanese army, except the Chinese army would use flags.
Makes more sense with flags, not flares.
Well, no, because you've actually got to get a guy up to the target to stick a flag in it. So it's a bit silly, really, but the principle is still the same, basically. The British use the same tactic at Gallipoli.
Right.
And the Japanese use the same tactic with flags at Wake Island. Battle of Wake Island. The Japanese used flags because the Americans just fired off all their smoke, and so the Japanese couldn't tell what was a target and what wasn't. So it confused the Japanese gunners, so they couldn't fire. That's the end of it. That's everything I can think of.
That's all the question I've got.
Right, there you go. It was very quick. I hope you liked the model. He was
and the little map.
He's got a little map and a newspaper. He was reading the newspaper, and he went, "Oh, something's over there." And he just dropped his newspaper and he's reading over there. Whereas he's pointing in that direction, going left a bit, left. No, my left. No, not your left. No. Oh, oops. I'm not going to tell anyone I did that. Yeah. So that's basically the unit. And that's the end of the video. Over to you.
So if you enjoyed this video, please do like and subscribe, and comment down below what you think we could have asked, and Impact Explaism will answer the question. That's everything from me.
And that's everything from him.
Bye.